So moving on slightly, on Tuesday we had the first part of Anse Tamara's responses to questions posed to her by teenagers. They were very open with their questions, these teenagers, asking questions such as why must we cover and why can't we be friends with the opposite sex?
Yeah, so for those of you with teenagers or who are teenagers and feel slightly confused or frustrated when it comes to trying to balance deen and dunya, stay tuned as Anse Tamara has some great words of wisdom for you all.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm here to answer some questions from teenagers. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We're going to pick them out one by one and see how many we can get done. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Salatu wassalam ala khatam al-anbiya Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi ashabi ajma'in. How do you suppress the feelings of loneliness and wanting someone? The feelings of loneliness come from many different places. If you are a teenager and you're feeling lonely, the cure at that age is not another human being. You need to be seeking fulfillment, spiritual fulfillment to be sure. But I would even also begin before that with thinking about how are you yourself feeling good about yourself. Feelings of loneliness and emptiness certainly can come from an empty spiritual state, missed prayers, a faith that isn't complete, but it can also come from a misunderstanding about how we define ourselves. You want to be careful that you're not self-identifying yourself as only being valuable if you're attached to a man. Your value is not equal to the men in your life. Your value is equal to the person you are, the kind of person you are in your relationship with God, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that being said, in order to suppress that loneliness, you need to become friends with yourself and become an amatullah, a devotee of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One. Let's see. How can you make yourself feel better when all of your friends are having fun at a party and you're not? Well, first of all, I think I'll suggest that you find some friends who are not at that party. If all of your friends, all of them are at the party and you're not, there is really probably a little problem there about who all of your friends are. I'm not saying you have to necessarily get rid of those friends, but you do want to have some friends who are also not at that party who you can be talking to and doing something else with. Plan your life. Plan to have your own kind of fun. Plan to do fun field trip type things. Go to fun places, do fun stuff. Just keep it within the bounds of halal, because within the bounds of halal is a fun that does not have regret. And fun that has regret is a disappointing fun, because even if you're having fun for those moments, it won't last. And the loneliness and the emptiness you feel afterwards is more painful than that feeling of being left out for those few moments. And 3, let's see. Why is having your arm out on show extremely seductive and inappropriate? Aren't they just arms? They certainly are just arms, and they are just arms. They're not extremely seductive and inappropriate because they're out on show. The importance of dressing modestly and wearing hijab and dressing as a Muslim woman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, أَنْ يُعْرِفْنَا, that we wear hijab, that we can be known, وَلَا يُؤْذَيْن, and that we do not experience harm. And that to be known, first of all, is about being known as a person of faith, as a woman of God, as a young woman of God. And not having your arm out on show is not about being seductive, because at the same time that we are asked to wear hijab, غض البصر, or lowering the gaze, is something that is asked of everyone else. So it is not our job to control the sexual feelings of others. Rather, it is our job to fulfill Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's ordinance in the Quran, and to understand that in wearing hijab and dressing modestly, we're making a statement, a beautiful statement, that we are indeed people of faith, that we are indeed those who are holding on to the religion of joy and helping others and deep faith and connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that we walk with the standard of that faith with our hijab and our modest clothing. أن يعرفن ولا يؤذين, and that we avoid, I'm not saying we avoid any kind of harm. Certainly with Islamophobia and such things, wearing hijab can be a difficult thing. But the type of harm we avoid is the type of harm that can hurt us spiritually. In wearing hijab, you fulfill the ordinance, as I said before, or the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's request of us or command to us. And in response, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects our hearts and protects us and protects our inner spiritual selves, and we hold on to our faith. Okay, that's 3. Let's see what number 4 says. Why aren't boys and girls allowed to interact in social places? For example, if they go out in groups. The relationship between males and females in Islam is a relationship of respect, and the word I like to use is professionalism. Boys and girls socializing all over the place is an open door for temptation and an open door for all sorts of relationships that can hurt you, can hurt others, can hurt eventual children in the future. And while our cultures and our societies are really emphasizing not only mixing but trading off of relationships from one after the other, we are asked to be a special, unique group of people. A group of people who enjoins what is right and good and wholesome and healthy, and pushes away and stands away from all that which is ugly and immoral and unhealthy, both for us individually, for our societies, and for our progeny. So while it may seem like this is a silly thing, I'm just out with my friends and I'm just goofing around, and you may feel like that doesn't affect the rest of the society, we need to recognize that each individual makes up the society. So if each individual can work together and build a healthy society through healthy and professional interactions between boys and girls, men and women, male and female, healthy interactions that include respect, then we will have a better society. And that's what Muslims have been called on to build. All right, let's see if we can get a few more in here before our time is up. Why is it that if a Muslim man has a girlfriend, it isn't seen as bad as if a Muslim girl had a boyfriend? And boys are much easier forgiven. Because our cultures have a sickness. And there's a problem. Certainly with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is not like this. It is just as bad. And they are not more easily forgiven. The sin of the boy or the girl is the same with Allah. Our cultures have lost some of this. Okay, let's see what we have next here. How do you feel good towards your physical appearance? How do you remain feeling pretty and loving yourself despite society wanting you to feel otherwise? Especially as in Islam you can't use plastic surgery to fix things, so how do you accept your flaws? This is a beautiful question, and it is a question not only for Muslim women or even Muslim boys, but it is a question for that every single young person in our world today asks him or herself. And the pressure that we are under to conform to a specific vision of what is beautiful is a pressure that is unprecedented. Other societies have not had to deal with this. It is a pressure that we are dealing with because of media, because of internet, because of television, because of websites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, etc. That pressure, I want you to get mad about that. I want you to be mad that someone out there tells you that you're only beautiful, excuse me, that you're only beautiful if you're white, you have blue eyes, you weigh much less than is healthy, you're a certain height, and you're a certain build. I want you to be mad about that because it wasn't a woman who decided that for you. It was some group of men somewhere within a building where they were deciding what advertising might work, what clothing design might be best. A group of people somewhere who decided who would be the models, who would demonstrate beauty. And I think altogether we need to get mad about that. And we need to say enough is enough. We are all beautiful, irregardless of our color, our nose shape, our eye color, our chin shape, our weight. These are all issues that should make us angry. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in the most beautiful of ways. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made each one beautiful and exciting and interesting to look at. The beautiful woman from the depths of Africa and the gorgeous young person from northern China and the lovely, incredibly interesting looking tribal member from the Amazon forest. Everyone is beautiful. Our beauty is measured from what is inside. So to handle the question though, is you don't want me to lecture you about our beauty on the inside. How do you remain feeling pretty and loving yourself? Get mad. Get mad at this. Get mad about it and help others feel beautiful as well. Because Allah created you bi ahsani taqweem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you in the best of ways, in the best of creation. So know that you are beautiful. Be sure of it. And then go out and help others feel beautiful as well. Assalamu alaikum. I'm here to answer some questions from teenagers. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All right, we have only 2 left here. Let's see. We'll pick up this one first. How do we get to know a male in a halal way? Well, this is a world today where young women are no longer cloistered in their homes. I mean, let's be frank here for a minute. We don't have a society where women are somehow living in villages where the women are all together and cooking and learning and living in one place, and the men are over here hunting and farming and whatever over here. This is just not how anyone lives in the world anymore. So you're meeting people, you're at university, you're at school, you're acting in a professional, responsible, respectful way, and you're meeting people all around. Now, if you're not, I think here what you mean is not just meeting a male in a halal way, but you're talking about a spouse, looking for a spouse. Traditionally, Muslims have taken the advice of people around them and their parents and their aunties and their uncles and people in the community, and perhaps their friends and husbands of their friends or wives of their friends, and then have met someone in a gathering, in a public space or in a gathering space where there are other people there, where questions can be asked. And it is a safe environment, a secure environment where you can feel comfortable to ask the questions that need to be asked. And certainly that is an important piece, to be thinking about what you're going to ask and what does it mean to get to know a male and what kind of male is worth getting to know, because not every male is worth getting to know. But you get to know them in public spaces with a clear intention that this is an intention for a serious relationship. It's not just casual. And the reason for that is so that you don't hurt your heart. You don't have a heart that is broken, because your heart is valuable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created that heart, and that heart first must be attached and love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then that same heart that truly loves Allah can love other human beings in a healthy way and in a way that is building both for your own spiritual self, for your family, your future family, and your relationships together. So that was a little bit maybe too long for the actual question here. How do we get to know a male in a halal way? In public spaces, with clear intentions, and with chaperones that are near us, around us, and supporting us, so that we're not hoodwinked in any way or hurt in any way. And our last question here in the bowl. If most films and TV shows have things that are not accepted in Islam, how are you supposed to be entertained? We can't keep watching documentaries and other things that aren't interesting. Well, I have a couple of things to say here. First of all, be a film director and make some things that are interesting without haram stuff in there. Get up and do that. That's answer number 1. Answer number 2 is, I think there are quite a few films out there that are really quite good, and they don't have haram stuff in them. Or if they do, maybe it's just 1 second and you can close your eyes or look away. Or I knew a family that would have a special pillow in front of the TV with a long, like plastic thing, that they would pull the pillow up and put it down if anything came up that was questionable in any way. So I think you can trust yourself to protect your eyes and protect your ears. Certainly stay away from all that is, if it has more than 3 minutes of haram stuff, you probably don't want to watch it. But otherwise, I think you can trust yourself to sort of cover up the stuff that it's going to hurt your heart and hurt your road to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, there's plenty. There are certainly things out there that are encouraging and interesting. Go into watching that with the intention that you are taking a rest, that you are having a rest from your hard work, your hard studying, your hard helping in your home, your hard taking care of other people, your hard work to help your community, and you're taking some time there to take a rest, and then when you come out, have the energy to go out and help people again. There are plenty of movies out there as well that will even encourage you in that, so I suggest those. And the final third thing I want to say is the concept of being entertained. Do a little reflection on that and think about that. Why do we need to be entertained? Why do we need to be entertained? What is wrong with our lives that we feel bored so that we need to be entertained? I prefer to think that you're really involved with your communities, studying hard, filling your lives with beautiful, wonderful things. And so you need a break to rest and come back with energy to all of those activities. But we need to think about the pervasive idea in our cultures that we need to be entertained. And we need to ask ourselves if that's who we want to be. And ask ourselves if really that was the way of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. And we already know the answer to that is no, it was not. So then we need to ask ourselves, how can we then imitate them in a better way? And the companions of the Prophet ﷺ included plenty of teenagers. It included plenty of teenagers. And the teenagers around the Prophet ﷺ were some of the closest companions, hardest workers, and most important people that began this ummah. So be those that will begin this ummah anew today, because we need you. We need every single one of you. And we need to be rid of the silliness and the shallowness and the pain and the loneliness. And we need you to join hands together and find a way to reach out to one another in the joy of faith and raise one another and help our ummah heal from the great tragedies that are occurring today, both on individual and a larger, much larger scale. Thank you for the opportunity to answer your questions, and I hope to be back another day. Assalamu alaikum.